hawa watoto wako na shida ya miguu. Walianza tu kuanguka tu. Wakaanza tu kuanguka, maso zikaisha nguvu. Hata Njoroge hivyo ndivyo tunaye alianza kuanguka. Akaanza kuanguka tu. Na hakuna kitu anaweza jifanyia chochote. Mimi ndio nawaoshanga, kuwapeleka chooni mimi na wakalishia ndoo. Naenda na mwanga choo zao, na waosha na wavalisha nguo. Mimi niko na mashida. Hawa watoto Mungu tu awasaidie tu, mnisaidie penye tu mnaweza.
Mimi huyu. Twende? Boss, uko sawa?
Niko sawa, ni vile niko na calls mingi. It's a busy day, you know.
Kazi lazima ichape.
By the way, nice background.
Faster speeds, better experiences. Over 50 million Kenyans. One network. Safaricom. Popote ulipo.
Welcome. This is Easy Friday. I'm Carren, Kibbett, and as always, we'll take you through the biggest stories in news, business, and sports. But today, there is a conversation you'll want to sit through. He's an artist, a teacher, a justice advocate, and a man who has stepped into the presidential race before, stumbled, and still dares to try again. Reuben Kigame is back in the spotlight once more, asking Kenyans to trust his vision for the nation. What makes him so persistent? Has he resolved past battles with IEBC? And how does he plan to turn music, faith and activism into a workable agenda for State House? It promises to be a candid, bold and maybe even surprising. Our one-on-one with Reuben Kigame coming up right here on Easy Friday. But first things first, here are the highlights. I'll deliver my promises to the mountain, President Ruto says as he hosts grassroots leaders from Muranga County. Justice for Kyalombobo. Lawyers take to the streets to protest the shooting dead of one of their own, Kyalombobo. Eyes on the ball. Kenya Moja politicians woo the young generation ahead of the 2027 elections. And goons for hire. Government orders crackdown on rogue border operators, claiming politicians are using them to settle political scores. Welcome. This is Easy Friday. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Susan Thuku. Now, lawyers Friday took to the streets of Nairobi to protest the brutal killing of Advocate Kyalombobo by unknown assailants. Dressed in black suits and purple ribbons, members of the Law Society of Kenya marched in solidarity, demanding justice and greater protection for members of the legal profession.
The peaceful procession began at the Milimani courts before making stops at Kaunda streets, where lawyers observed a moment of silence outside the late Mbobo's office and later at the Supreme Court. The march ended at the office of Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja, where a petition was presented calling for urgent investigations into the murder.
Mwenzetu Kyalombobo vile aliwawa kinyama sana, tunalia sana, na mastori sasa zinaenea kwa social media wapi na pale kusema ilikuwa hivi, ilikuwa hivyo. Sisi tunataka tu kitu moja, kazi ni yenyu, shika hawa walete kotini tuwaone, ingawa wengine hapa sisi pia tutawakilisha, lakini haki itendeke.
Leading the march, LSK President Faith Odhiambo linked the killing of Advocate Mbobo to that of lawyer Willie Kimani, warning that such attacks undermines justice and instills fear among practitioners.
It also ensures access to justice under Article 48 and the right to a fair hearing under Article 50. The killing of an advocate, as currently witnessed, does not violate these rights but also undermines their clients' access to justice. Under the National Police Service Act, the Inspector General is responsible for protecting citizens, including advocates.
Lawyers led by Senior Counsel Philip Murgor stressed that lawyers perform a difficult role and deserve state protection.
Begin by condemning the heinous murder of my senior Mwalimu Kyalombobo. Permit me also to address these criminals. Criminals should understand that lawyers are their best friends. The last person that a criminal should touch is a lawyer, because a lawyer is the last person that will stand with them throughout the trial.
The people who have perpetuated this will be brought to justice as soon as possible, and the burden lies on the police force and the ODPP personnel.
In Kilifi County, local counterparts in calling for a quick and decisive action against the killers of the city lawyer.
We are urging the Kenya National Police Service to be vigilant and to make sure that the insecurity in this country is dealt with once and for all. We are tired. If this comes to lawyers, then what about the common mwananchi mwenye hana security, hana gari wala nini?
Tunaomba vyombo vya uchunguzi, serikali vifanye uchunguzi, hao watu wakamatwe na hatua kali ichukuliwe.
And Mombasa-based activists are calling on the Kenya Kwanza government to declare insecurity a national disaster.
This is why we've come out here to say enough is enough already. We want to see the security situation improving immediately. And it is not a request, it is a demand. Na ikiwa wale wamepewa majukumu ya kusimamia usalama wameshindwa na hiyo kazi, kindly, Murkomen, IG Kanja, step aside and allow other people to come in who will do the job as Kenyans want.
The Law Society of Kenya has emphasized that purple ribbon marching is not only a tribute to Advocate Charlo Mbobu, but also a call of justice, and urging the national authorities to take actions to those behind these killings. For Easy Friday, I'm Letua Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah, for that report. Moving on, President William Ruto says the days of tribalistic and retrogressive politics to enrich a few at the expense of the masses are gone. Speaking at State House, Nairobi, after meeting grassroots leaders from Murang'a County, the head of state took a swipe at the opposition, accusing them of sowing seeds of division to paint his administration in bad light. Ruto maintained he will deliver his pledges to Central Kenya despite criticism. Here is our reporter Abdiaziz Hashim with the details of the meeting.
Grassroots leaders and residents of Murang'a County flocked at State House Nairobi on Friday. During the meeting, President William Ruto spelled out his government's development track record in Murang'a and the larger Mount Kenya region.
So mutiani ya maendeleo, mimi siwezi anguka. Pengine mutiani ingine. Ni fire si fire. Ni fire si fire. Ni fire si fire.
The head of state urged the residents to ignore critics who he says were keen on sowing seeds of discord against his administration.
Na bado niko na miaka miwili ya kunyorosha mpaka ikae sawa sawa. Alafu maneno ya siasa tutakuja kusema wakati yake. Unajua kuna watu wanatangatanga barabarani wakiongea. Ni kwa sababu hawana kazi. Mimi niko na kazi ya kufanya. So waendelee kuongea, wacha mimi nifanye kazi ile mlinipatia. Pale mbele tutaketi chini, nyinyi mtaona report card ya kila mtu.
Ati sasa tuache nyumba ambaye sisi tumejenga imekamilika. Ati saa ile tunanunua viti tuketi tusherekee, tunaambiwa asitutoke, tuache tuende namna hiyo bila kitu.
Ruto stressed that transforming a nation requires bold, well thought out decision, not empty talk or political rhetoric.
Na kuna watu wanajidanganya. Ati mimi ati nitawachana na watu wa Murang'a. Those people wanaota ndoto ya mchana. Sasa mimi nataka niwaulize. Watu walinipatia kura mpaka nikakuwa rais. Nitawachana na wao kwa sababu gani?
Pale Murang'a timu yetu ya siasa, kwa sababu wamevumilia, wamekaa ngumu, wamesimama kidete kutetea serikali ambayo tulichagua bila uoga, bila kuyumbishwa. I salute our members of parliament and the leaders of Murang'a County for standing firm.
The president also issued development goodies to the devolved unit, which included an allocation of 23 billion shillings for the construction of 10,300 affordable houses, 3.5 billion shillings to upgrade roads, 2.3 billion shillings for the development of 23 modern markets, and 3 billion for new student hostels.
Kuna wengine wanafikiria wanaweza kuturudisha kwa ukabila. Mimi nataka niwaambie, kama unatafuta mambo ya ukabila, tafuta dunia ingine, tafuta nchi ingine. Hii Kenya tutashikana vile tumeshikana.
To accelerate entrepreneurship and inclusive growth, Ruto stated that more than 10,000 households will be connected to electricity by December through an ambitious plan of 850 million shillings electrification project.
Na mnataka kujua hii kazi mlinipatia nimefanya imefika wapi? Si hapo ndio kipimo iko? Nikipita hiyo mtihani, si tunaendelea mbele? Ama
the president further committed to build 2 modern stadiums worth 1.5 billion and to connect Kigame, Mathioya, Kiharu and Kandara to clean water under a 2.4 billion shilling water project.
A first world country in the next 20 years if we do the right things.
Abdiaziz Hashim for Easy Friday.
Now, politicians from Kenya Moja political formation have vowed to persuade the young generation in the country to support their political formation in the 2027 general elections, which is anchored by the demands but not manifestos. Speaking in Githunguri Stadium, the team leader by Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna faulted the Kenya Kwanza government for using the economic empowerment drive as a campaign tool.
Speaking in Githunguri Stadium during the launch of Githunguri Avocado Circle, the Kenya Moja team took offense with the ruling Kenya Kwanza government for using development projects as 2027 political tool. The MPs vowed to have their presence felt in the coming general election.
Wale ambao wanasema no to oppressive finance bill. Wale ambao wanasema no to privatization of our national asset. Wale ambao wanasema no to oppressing our elderly parents.
Empower, tuna empower. Akiingia misa tuko na bishop. Mpaka ile siku ambayo tutaelewana.
Mama mboga atagraduate kutoka kwenye kiosk kisha atakuwa na supermarket. Je, uko nayo hauna?
This as the Democracy for the Citizens Party DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua took a swipe at the ongoing grassroots meeting at State House, saying they are meant to intimidate voters ahead of the 2027 elections.
Many times people have tried to confuse the people of Murang'a, but they have remained forever focused. These are people who are extremely focused and they can see through.
Elsewhere, a section of Ukambani leaders allied to the government has maintained that the opposition lacks the unity and strength to challenge President Ruto's transformative agenda. Led by UDA National Organizing Secretary and Mwale MP Vincent Musyoka Kawaya and Kitui East MP Nimrod Mbai, the leaders emphasized that President Ruto's bold policy are laying the foundation for the country's economic transformation.
President William Ruto ni mtu ya mashinani. The people who are most affected ni watu ambao ni watu wa chini zaidi. The rural setting. Watu ambao muko Nairobi mnafanya vitu zenu pale Nairobi.
Tuko na kitu inaitwa SHA ambayo inafanya kazi. Ambayo rais wetu ameamua kufanya lile ambalo lilikuwa limepangwa kufanya na Kibaki.
That report takes us to our fast short break right here on Easy Friday. When we come back, we will be talking to Ruben Kigame. Do not go too far. I'll be back with more.
We are the Mulatis. I'm Eric. This is my lovely wife. And I saw her in one of the, events. And then I wanted to talk to her, but I developed cold feet.
This guy, first of all, he looks boring.
Oh my God.
He had big specs. Those. And it was like, please, if you talk to our friend, it's called Wairimu. If you talk to Wairimu, you wait. Go talk to Wairimu alone.
Yes.
So that I could tell he likes me. But I was like, not my type.
After service, she comes to talk to me.
Allah.
She's looking for a job.
I've seen what you did there.
If I can pray for her.
So I grew up in a very dysfunctional home. So actually I never saw a happy marriage. So hata rurasho tulieka pesa pamoja.
Alinipea mshahara yake kulipa.
Tukalipa rurasho.
Ulijilipia?
Took us 5 to 6 years to have a child.
Oh, okay.
That's how I know, and we were meant to be. Love you.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs,
breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Children go to school where the guilty are condemned and the innocent defended, where none will die from biting poverty, and where none lives in loneliness, grief, or pain. I have a dream, dream, dream of a nation of the Lord. How I always want to dream, 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 it will soon be here. I have a dream that it will be so. Every day I want to dream, dream, dream till I can dream no more.
Beautiful, beautiful.
You like that?
I love it. I love it.
If you knew that I wrote that song way back in 1992.
I wasn't even born.
You are not born. The dream is still not fulfilled. I hope with this next election it will.
We never know.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know.
I know that I will do my very best to bring Kenya to the place where that dream is possible. It's up to Kenyans to give me that mandate.
Ah, beautiful.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Ruben Kigame is just not a celebrated musician and a teacher. He is also a justice advocate who has ambitions for the highest seat in the land. Now he wants to be Kenya's next president. He says he is bringing a vision of leadership rooted in faith, character, and people-centered development. Tonight, we sit with him here to talk about his vision and why he believes Kenya is ready for change. Daktari, karibu sana KBC. And please
Thank you.
Start by telling us, why should Kenyans support and vote for you as president come 2027?
I think if we keep repeating the same mistakes, then nothing will change in this country. We have tried them all. We have heard the promises and the lies and so on. I think what Kenyans should be looking for now is authentic, character-driven servant leadership. And that is based on values, where you put people first. My philosophy remains utu, haki, na maadili. Utu is just human dignity, haki is about justice, and the maadili is about values, you know, that if you have that philosophy in place, now you can bring the nation to where it needs to be. And I have 3 public commitments vis-a-vis bomoa ufisadi, that's dismantle corruption, 2, tekeleza katiba, implement the constitution, and thirdly, jenga Mkenya, empower, build the individual Kenyan citizen, because development is not about things, it's about people. And if you want to know that people have actually been developed or grown, you look at their faces, you look at their stomachs, zimejaa mapana. Are the children going to school? Do the young people have jobs? You know, is diaspora able to invest here? Do we have health services? You know, in the villages, not kila mtu kuja Kenyatta Hospital.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. The rebirth, the reboot, the restart of Kenya away from that neo-colonial state and into a place where promises are kept, where citizens are placed at the center, and where things like corruption, which is really just theft, are hit so hard. You hit from day one until Kenya has a rebirth. Yes. That's the dream I had way back as a teacher at Maryhill High School. I've carried that dream through all the constitutional dispensation issues and all of that. I ran in Vihiga County, where I come from, Bunyore, ran there for governor. And in 2022, of course, I ran for the highest office. Lakini IBC walifanya ile kitu.
In 2022.
Yes, yes.
I even wanted to ask you about that. Have those differences been solved, and how differently are you looking to approach the commission this time around?
What happened to me is probably one of the saddest things when it comes to institutional services, because IBC is an independent institution, that should be a referee, a fair player. But the late Chebukati, God bless his soul, and the team, all of them, connived to ensure that they had what you call the two-horse race. That is President William Ruto now and the former Prime Minister Raila. Those are the two people that were floundered for, the two-horse race. So all of us had to be eliminated. And I was in court with the IBC lawyers who said that if Reuben Kigame was put on the ballot, then none of those two would have 50+1. That's on record. So I took them to court, of course, and Justice Murima ruled that I should be put on the ballot. Guess what? They took me to the Court of Appeal to stay that judgment, meaning it was very intentional. And to prove to you that it was very intentional, that matter has never been heard to this day.
Wow.
Yes. So I'm hoping that 2027, first of all, I will not just be the only one fighting for justice for candidates, but that we will see Kenyans rise and say, if Kigame is not on the ballot, then IBC should be dismantled. And at the same time, EACC had 241 names of aspirants, candidates that were not fit to hold office. 241. A lot of them made it into government. And so if you want to convince me that Kenya has moved on, you'd have to show me Kenyans crying like the Gen Zs for accountability, for justice, for the rule of law. And that is what a Kigame presidency brings to the table. We did not begin, I did not start in 2024 with the Gen Zs. I was asking for accountability way from 2020.
Back, yeah.
Yes.
So we want to take a short break right here on Easy Friday, but when we come back, you have to tell us, you speak most often about character-driven leadership. I need to know what virtues do you think is currently lacking in the current leadership, and how are you looking to sort that?
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's take a short break. We will be right back here on Easy Friday.
At the heart of Kenya's transport infrastructure is the Mechanical and Transport Directorate, MTD, under the Ministry of Roads and Transport. We oversee a network of services spread across 24 strategic regions, ensuring efficiency in plant and transport services nationwide, from road construction and maintenance to the provision of specialized equipment to manufacturing services. We support infrastructural development across the country. We carry out inspection and valuation of government vehicles, plant and equipment in view of pre-delivery, repair and maintenance and disposal. We also inspect second-hand imported motor vehicles for roadworthiness as per KEBS KS 1515 and conduct occupational tests for drivers and operators. For more information, visit mtd.go.ke or call 0718 976 445. The Mechanical and Transport Directorate, quality mechanical and plant services.
In the name of Jesus Christ, Mungu anatarajia ukanyange hatua mbele. Ni kwa neema wengine wametawaliwa na uchawi. Wakati wao umefika. Wewe umenitazama siku hii ya leo. Neema na kibali cha Bwana kikawe juu ya maisha yako.
Na sasa unafikiri vile umefunga ile gate kuna chochote umefanya?
Kwani wanawake huwa wanafikiria aje?
Tuongelee kitu tumekuleta hapa, alafu uende.
Are you confessing to a crime, Alex?
Jemedari is planning to run away. Relax.
Kwani mnaenda safari ya dharura?
Choosing to go down with dad, does it prove your undying life for him?
Mimi ni mamako. Usiniongeleshe hivyo. Allah.
Welcome back. We are with Dr. Ruben Kigame in studio. And once again, he's back in the spotlight because once more he's asking Kenyans to trust his vision for the nation. Come 2027, he's asking you to make him president. Daktari, before we took a short break, we were talking about character-driven leadership.
Correct.
Kindly tell us, what virtues do you believe are mostly lacking and urgently needed in Kenya?
So the first thing is we go back to the Constitution, because Article 10 lists the values of integrity, patriotism, you know, the possibility to be accountable and so on. All these virtues are supposed to guide policy, and no decision can be taken and no policy can be made without Article 10. Then you have Chapter 6, which has got to do with integrity, especially in leadership. And it says it very clearly that nobody who is adversely mentioned or who is unfit to hold office because they have, you know, failed the integrity test should actually be in leadership. You go all the way to the public service in Article 232. Even in serving in the public service, you've got to uphold values. Now, for me, that is probably one of the greatest things the Constitution of Kenya provides, because it is at the heart of our problem. We have politicians, and they've started, by the way. They're already moving around the country. I saw President Ruto today promise Muranga goodies, you know, roads, same thing, same old, the school stuff and all this, you know, now they're pledging billions already. You have, you know, governors and senators who have failed the people going around saying, I want another term. So it's not just at the presidency. MCAs, senators, governors, women reps that have failed the people because they have not fulfilled their mandate. They have failed to keep promises or made promises they never kept. Like the government, you know, when Kenya Kwanza was campaigning, they made the commitment, for example, that there will be no more abductions. We know that our young people have been abducted. They said nobody will be houseless again, you know, or evicted from their homes. They did exactly that. They promised jobs for Mama Mboga, you know, border guys. The opposite has been happening. Of course, if you ask them, they'll give you their scorecard and say, this is what we've done. This is, like I said, if you are going to build people, look at their stomachs, look at their children, whether they are able to go to school or not. Look at whether they can take money, I mean, they have money in their pockets. Look at how many industries are closing shop in Kenya and going to Egypt and Tanzania. So all those things cumulatively go to show that the economy is doing very, very badly.
Now you're talking about...
So values are about keeping your promises, you know, being able to be accountable. You don't tell people that you're going to reduce government spending and then you increase it. You don't tell people that you're going to build for them affordable houses, then you realize this is a government scheme for contractors and people to supply, you know, materials. So You've got to keep your word. And the Kigame presidency says, beginning with the president, yes, but going to everyone in parliament, in the public service, you've got to keep your promises. And I come from a Christian tradition that says in Ecclesiastes 5, it's better not to promise than to promise and then you don't fulfill.
So you're talking about the current government failing to keep its promises.
Even the previous ones.
Even the previous ones.
Yes, Uhuru failed. Kibaki really tried, I must say. Moi failed desperately. The first president tried a bit, but he's one of those who introduced most of the problems we have today. Capitalistic extractionism, he introduced tribalism. And even though you hear people talk about tribalism, like Shan tribalism, you look at them and you wonder, do you have the mandate to actually say you are not tribal? The two, that made it into government, vis-a-vis President Ruto and Gachagua, are actually tribalists. If you look at how they formed government, that's why Gachagua was talking about the shareholder economy. That if you did not contribute to this government, then you cannot, be part of it. You cannot benefit from it. And then they come and say they are not tribalists.
So,
they are the key tribalists.
So failed promises.
Absolutely.
In your Jenga Mkenya manifesto, which pillar do you believe could transform Kenya the fastest, and how would you implement it in your first 100 days?
The biggest reward I can give to Kenya in terms of fixing this country is going at corruption with hammers.
How?
So first of all, appointments into office, because that's where corruption begins. People who have been adversely mentioned, people who have cases, they've stolen, they have lied, they have taken other people's shambas, they have grabbed from NYS or other parastatals. Those people, I tell you KK, I call you KK because
yes.
Those people will not make it into my government. That's the first step to hit at corruption. Secondly,
so one of your practical ways in which you will curb corruption
is, first of all, right from the campaign, not just when I form government. I want to surround myself with these wonderful Kenyan professionals that have not taken people's shambas or stolen from government parastatals or want to sell Kenya for a song, the way they want to sell pipeline or want to sell a JKIA. These are capitalists, extractionist capitalists that trade with the lives of people. I don't want those in government. The second thing we do is go back in history, beginning with President Ruto into Uhuru, and those who worked with Kibaki and who brought us to Anglo leasing. These people borrowed money or took money in the name of projects. We know who signed for them. Now we keep talking about odious debt. These people signed for monies, got money either from China or from Europe, the Eurobond and all these things. Then they promised to build dams and so on, and then in the end, they did not, put that money into circulation to do those projects. I will go for them because they then make us pay, for what they have hidden in offshore accounts. That is plunder. That is rogue leadership. And so I'll go for them. But then we'll also make stealing very expensive and also lucrative in some sense, because if you unveil graft, I'm going to pay you for it. I'll pay you for revealing graft in your company or in a particular place of government. So, and then of course, I want a leaner government. I want a smaller government under 20 ministries. A lot of ministries need to be merged. And so we will be cutting down and then, of course, invest in industries, make Kenya a 24-hour economy where you can do 2 or 3 jobs. I want to see a university student go to school during the day and in the evening work at Java or go into driving Uber or whatever. We need to make this economy work for the people. And, of course, invest in agriculture and then production. We don't want to import things that we can produce here. I hate to see toothpicks come into this country from China. It is criminal. Sugar, the sugar industry, it's in the hands of barons that are destroying, and then they go and import sugar and then sell it as Nzoia and or Mumias. This must stop. So you deal with corruption, and that's how you deal with all these ghost projects, you know, ghost schools, ghost workers, ghost hospitals, because that's where the siphoning goes. Yes.
Devolution was meant to bring services closer to the people. You're talking about ghost projects, counties being crippled by debt, mismanagement. You know, exactly how would you what would you do differently when elected as president?
If I was elected president today, and I request you do elect me as president, the first thing I would do with regard to devolution is reduce sending money to already developed areas of the country and concentrate on what I'm calling demarginalization. For example, one way of ending banditry, the so-called banditry in the Kapedo and, you know, all these Turkana, Pokot, Marakwet, is to actually open up those regions, build good roads, build schools so that those kids don't go to the bush to handle AK-47s. Make sure Lodwar, you know, has water. Lake Turkana is functional. Bring all that water underneath the surface, under the ground, to desalinize it, make it consumable, and make Machakos, Kitui, Makueni arable by ensuring irrigation works. So demarginalization is what I call it. That I want to see the people of Pokomo, and the Pokomo, I want to see the people of Lamu with so much agricultural land there, you know, able to dig, to cultivate their grounds. This is demarginalization, but you have to go to the heart of some of the problems, because, for example, in Lamu, it is people from outside Lamu that have title deeds. The local people of Lamu don't have, they're hardly given title deeds. We've got to reverse that. Honor people, dignify people, so that they are proud of development. So I would take development to where it is not, Mandera, you know, Isiolo. Ensure that, you know, places that have never seen, you know, irrigation, for example, Kulalo, Galana, it keeps flopping. We must make it work. Now, what is going to happen? If you demarginalize, then places like informal settlements, like you have Kibera, Mathare, Mukuru kwa Njenga, you have people coming to Nairobi because they want jobs. What you do when you do demarginalization, you create jobs outside Nairobi, make those counties work. In fact, fund the counties, bring devolution to nearly 50% of the national budget funding, so that you don't keep, for example, doing what the president just did today, and that is keep taking development to Muranga. Muranga is okay. Let's take development to Isibania and Lokichogio and West Pokot. Let's take development where it's not. Yeah. Otherwise, if you don't do that, people will keep coming to Kenyatta Hospital when you should be building dispensaries and hospitals that work. Everywhere you go, even I was the other day at Mbale, you know, referral hospital, Vihiga Referral Hospital. You find you are treated and then you're told you go outside, find a pharmacy, buy the medication there. These people, some doctors, some pharmacists are stealing medication from hospitals, taking them to private pharmacies. Under my government, my radar will be on them. Absolutely.
So you've really talked about when you become president, you'd get rid of most people. I'm curious to know, because politics requires alliances, negotiations, and compromises at times. Who are your allies today, and what are you willing to give up to build a winning coalition?
My first major alliance is the Gen Zs and the young people in general, because I think they understand what we are dealing with. People my age and upwards don't understand what Kenya is dealing with. Most people in the middle class are paying so many loans, they are heavily taxed, but they keep supporting tribalism and all these cocoons. These are the people that are making our children not marry each other, because they say you can't marry from that community, you can't trade with so-and-so, you can't vote so-and-so. That's how the millennials and upwards think, very retrogressively. So my first allies are young people, the Gen Zs, and nasema mchukue kura, tubadilishe mambo. The second allies I have are those who are pro-people. I don't care where you are, whether you are in government or outside government, you want a system that works for the people, I can work with you.
Do they know they are your allies?
Now they know. Now they know. You see, there's a very interesting tweet that Professor Ndii, put out in December of 2021. He said, if you want to fight corruption in Kenya, then don't look to UDA, because that is not what we want to deal with. And if you think Raila will eradicate corruption, then vote for him. But if you really want a country that runs on values, then vote for Reuben Kigame. He said that. He tweeted. And I'm basically saying values, values, values at the center of government. And so if someone is ready to fight corruption, I can work with them. If someone is ready to implement fully the Constitution, I can work with them. If someone is willing to build the lives of the Kenyan, empower the Kenyan, I can work with them. Yes.
You have spoken of leadership rooted in faith and character. But in politics, ideals often clash with reality. How will you prevent your vision from being dismissed as utopian?
So first of all, ideals clash with reality because the people who put forth those ideals are hypocrites. You can, if you actually believe telling lies is wrong, then that will never change, whether you are in government or outside government. But you find contradictions because people say one thing when they mean another. And that is the difference I'm bringing to the table. That if I told you that I'm going to do this and then I don't do it, you have the right to tell me, Reuben, you lied. But politicians in Kenya don't want that kind of accountability. And so I'm saying that if you elect Reuben Kigame into office, you begin with me. We must all be able to declare our wealth. We must show where we're getting all this money. There's no way, KK, I can go and say, I'm going to give this particular amount to Harambee Stars. And I make as a president maybe 2 million. You see? So I want people to be true. If I say no more abductions, I should never be seen to be abducting. And if anybody abducts someone under my government, they should be brought to book. The issue is this particular government, for example, now troubles and kills the Gen Zs and so on, but the people who actually abduct and kill them are still walking around free. That is how not to do government.
Okay. On that note, let's take a short break. We will be back here to get to know the lighter side of Dr. Reuben Kigame. Don't forget he's an artist, so I'd really love to know how he would want to incorporate that into his presidential race and ensure that the artistic side of Kenyans is also sorted out. I'll be back.
We are the Mulatis. I'm Eric. This is my lovely wife. And I saw her in one of the, events. And then I wanted to talk to her, but I developed cold feet.
This guy, first of all, he looks boring.
Oh my God.
He had big specs. Those. And so I was like, please, if you talk to our friend, it's called Wairimu. If you talk to Wairimu, you wait. Go talk to Wairimu alone. So that I could tell he likes me. But I was like, not my type.
After service, she comes to talk to me.
Alas.
She's looking for a job.
I've seen what you did there.
If I can pray for her.
So I grew up in a very dysfunctional home. So actually I never saw a happy marriage. So hata Rurasho tulieka pesa pamoja.
Alinipea mshahara yake kulitoa.
Tukalipa Rurasho.
Ulijilipia?
Took us 5 to 6 years to have a child.
Oh, okay.
That's how I know, and we were meant to be. Love you.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back to Easy Friday. Tonight we are talking to Dr. Ruben Kigame, who once again has come to the spotlight, asking you to vote for him as president come 2027. Dr. Kigame, many Kenyans see you first as a musician and as a teacher. How are you going to incorporate your personal gifts to ensure that the socio-economic aspect in Kenya is well taken care of?
In a sense, Carren, the more gifts you bring to leadership, maybe the better for a country. Because when you talk about artists, I'm able to understand the musician, the painter, I'm able to understand the comedian, I'm able to understand those as legitimate, jobs and placements. On the other hand, having been a teacher, I can actually sympathize with what's going in the education sector, but also bring my expertise, because that's what I've been trained for, and I teach even right now. So this is not something I'm informing because somebody tells me. So that's really close to my heart. When I bring the issue of justice to the table, it's not because someone is pushing me, So I think all these gifts would be a blessing to Kenya. And of course, my faith, which makes me shut up when I need to, which makes me to say no to bribes, which makes me, keep my words. So all these, I believe, would be a gift. But also, I come to the table as a disruptor, because this is the first time a blind person is actually running for office, the highest office. And of course, people would say, ataweza kweli. So, na nimeweza aje hizo vitu zingine. So, we can go there another time when we have time. So I'm a disruptor. I want inclusive politics. I come from Esiambale in Bunyore. I want, us to move from this, ping pong between Kikuyu and Kalenjin presidency. And so you have a blind, singing, justice advocate that is also a teacher and a philosopher. I think that's a good blend for the country.
Holder.
That's good for the country. But most of all, a lover of people. Because unless you really want to serve people, then don't go into leadership.
Exactly. You've spoken about justice. If the IEBC disqualifies you again, will you concede or will you fight them?
Oh, IEBC, I would never concede because they're supposed to be neutral. In fact, I would smoke them out. But if the Kenyans give somebody else, the presidency, then I will certainly concede. Yes.
So you agree that if if in any case you lose again, you will concede and congratulate the winner.
Absolutely. So this is the thing. I'm a justice advocate, so you cannot do injustice to me. Absolutely. And that's why even IBC and the government and Kenyans think that I forgot about 2022 and the case that is still in the Court of Appeal. I'm not forgotten. I will still follow. And justice will be done and seen to be done. And dare they try to exclude me from the ballot this time, I will fight even harder. Yes.
We don't have time. We would have really loved hear you play the guitar. But just tell us, are you really in this to become president, or is it just for you to raise your profile?
So, Carren...
In 1 second.
Yeah, I can't speak in 1 second. Okay, so if I wanted to be famous or popularity, Google my name, you can find me anywhere. I'm not running because I'm hungry, and neither am I running because I want power. I want nothing but serving the people of Kenya and turning this nation around. So help me God.
Amen. Your message to the Gen Zs, part of your allies who haven't registered, who have not taken their IDs and are not yet eligible to vote. Your message to them as you tell the listeners to vote for you.
So it's all been gazetted now that registration begins shortly at the end of this month. Please go and register. If you haven't collected your ID, go for it. If you haven't checked the status, you know, some people applied and forgot, go and check. Register in numbers so that your voice is heard. It's not enough to go to the streets. It is now time for us to put in a new government through the vote.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Daktari, for making time to speak to Kenyans.
No, thank you.
Your employers.
Yes, I like that. You have such a sweet spirit, Carren. Yes,
we
that's
wish
how
you
it
all the
should
best.
be. Thank you.
Here at KBC Channel 1. And we will see you more come 2027 when you vie.
Asante
Thank
sana.
you so much. Now, the government has ordered a crackdown on rogue border operators in Kisii County, hijacked by the political class to harass and terrorize their perceived opponents. Condemning the criminal acts, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who spoke during the Jukwaa la Usalama Security Tour in Kisii Town, also revealed land succession disputes was the main cause of lynching of the aged that is done in disguise of containing witchcraft. Now, Giverson Minor reports.
Jukwaa la Usalama County Security Tour Nyanza Region Edition, page 8 tent in Kisii County on Friday. It is here that political hooliganism was highlighted as a widespread menace. Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen noted some political leaders from both the government and the opposition sides have hijacked a section of border riders to fight political battles, especially in Kisii Town.
Some of the border operators are being hijacked for criminal purposes in the name of political support. And it is on both sides of the political divide. And it has led to very ugly incidences here. Some of the persons who used to or who are operating or used to operate under the proscribed groups in this county have gone and hidden themselves in border.
He also weighed in on the issue of protracted land succession conflicts, specific in Gusii land, where the aged are lynched, camouflaged as witchcraft.
It is not about witchcraft. Witchcraft is the excuse. The real truth is that younger people are eliminating their elders so that they can quickly inherit land because of the pressure of land. So land is a big contributing factor insofar as murder is concerned here, and all these killings that are done in the name of witchcraft.
As he spelled tough measures to curb trafficking of drugs and illicit brews, the CS also disclosed an officer commanding station who appeared drunk in a security meeting in Migori on Thursday was arrested and was being assessed at the Migori County Hospital to determine whether it was a case of indiscipline or mental health challenges.
The assessment is currently ongoing. The officer was taken for tests in the hospital, and if it's a mental health problem, it will be handled also as a mental health challenge. Of course, that requires some level of reorganization to ensure that the officer cannot, to get another officer to do the commanding work, and maybe redeployment of that officer after rehabilitation to perform other responsibilities.
The CS warned cases of drunken police officers will not be tolerated.
If it was just, drunk for the sake of it, for whatever reasons, then of course the disciplinary processes will take effect, and the relevant disciplinary measures will be taken by the National Police Service, which exercises independent authority on disciplinary issues.
Give us Minor is a Friday in Kisii County.
Now, a new human rights report has revealed a disturbing rise in cases of harassment, violence, and other abuses on sexual and gender minorities in Kenya. The report, released by the civil societies group led by the Kenya Human Rights Commission, KHRC, documents over 2,100 incidents within just 1 year, raising serious concerns about safety, mental health, and the state of justice in Kenya. Most of the cases were concentrated in Nairobi, Thika, Machakos, and the coastal region, which together accounted for over 80% of the reported abuses. Alarmingly, the report shows that many victims were attacked by people they knew, including family members, intimate partners, and even service providers, leaving survivors battling depression, trauma, and in some cases, suicidal thoughts. Our reporter Ben Chumba now looks at the findings.
The report paints a grim picture of widespread human rights violations on gender minorities in the country. Between October 2023 and September 2024, more than 2,100 cases of abuse were recorded, ranging from harassment, physical assault, and evictions to emotional violence and even sexual abuse. Harassment topped the list with 682 cases documented. Victims also reported 440 incidents of physical assault, 91 sexual violations, 102 forced evictions, and 149 cases of intimate partner violence.
Violence is real. So anybody looking at numbers, most people will not report violations. These numbers do not capture the level of violations on our communities on a daily basis in this country.
Behind the numbers are lives deeply scarred, with survivors battling depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, and in some cases, suicidal thoughts.
If there is a case that has been reported, what is the documentation process? How do we follow up this case? What is the end results of the case? Because we've seen the fallout in many times is that people do not want to be mentioned at the end. And the reason why femicide is not considered by most of the organizations is because it's a political.
The study reveals that most perpetrators were not strangers, but people within victims' closest circles.
I get the feeling that some people want to keep quiet about it, all right? Because they are being told by their handlers that you lose votes and so forth, okay? So let's expose them. Let's basically go and ask those questions.
Nairobi, Thika, Machakos, and the coastal region emerged as the worst affected, accounting for nearly 85% of all reported violations.
I think we really need to have that holistic approach when we think about the uses of violence in our society. And once we do that, I think we're going to come up with very interesting findings about what needs to be done to kind of like prevent and mitigate, and also, take steps to ensure accountability for these violations.
The report also highlights the health consequences of such violence, with cases of reproductive health complications, unplanned pregnancies, and trauma-related illnesses, adding to an already strained healthcare system. Ben Chumba, Easy Friday.
Now, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation and the Siaya County government have begun talks aimed at inking a partnership deal for KBC to be the main broadcast partner during the upcoming Siaya International Trade and Investment Conference. Siaya Governor James Orengo led a delegation from the county government to discuss areas of collaboration and partnership. The investment conference, set to be held for 3 days in October, is aimed at positioning the county as an investment hub. It is expected to attract both local and international investors, innovators, and policy makers in a bid to unlock trade opportunities in agriculture, blue economy, value chain, and renewable energy.
Even if we end up with 5 bankable deals during the conference in the major areas where we want to attract investors, then our job will be done. We are strong in the blue economy. We have a large expanse of the Lake Victoria. We have crops that we want to encourage people to grow, avocado and other edible oils like sunflower. We are also encouraging livestock and, of course, fishing, which is part of the blue economy.
Experts are calling for more incentives to increase compliance in waste management, which is still low despite a groundbreaking law that could see Kenyans jailed for failing to sort their household waste. National Environment Management Authority County Director George Oyo says that the introduction of tax breaks for companies using recycled materials, buyback schemes for plastics and glass, and community composting hubs could make waste segregation not just mandatory but economically rewarding. Here is Regina Manyara with the details.
This is a sample and a replica of dump sites spread across the country. The Sustainable Waste Management Act, hailed as a game changer for Kenya's green agenda, requires households to segregate waste into organic, recyclable and general categories or 50,000 shillings or 6 months in jail.
However much we compel them using law, I think there's a huge element of willingness to do that because traditionally we have not segregated our waste.
Despite the law being in place, 2 years on, data paints a troubling picture.
Kitambo kulikuwa kuzuri, lakini sasa saizi chokora tumekuwa wengi. Wacha tujiite chokora sasa ni hivyo. Maana sote tuko takataka.
The Economic Survey 2024 reveals glaring gaps in waste collection and recycling.
And in many instances, the responsibility for managing the waste has usually been left to either government agencies, that's like the county government or the local government.
Nairobi, for instance, generated 1,100 tons of waste, but collected less than half of it. Are grappling with similar crisis, with thousands of tons left.
Ingia inamwaga, ikishamwaga inaondoka, ikishaondoka sisi tunaanza kuchokora. Tunatoa kile chetu, kile kinabaki hapo kwa takataka.
The goal was to transition from Kenya's current linear dump and forget model to a circular economy where 60% of the waste becomes manure, 30% is recycled, and only 5% ends up in landfills. Taita Taveta County is on this path, talking about plastic, glass, as well as cartons being the most favorite material to find its way here. This particular project is a pioneer project backed by the EU under the Go Blue projects with a capacity to be scaled up across the country. However, stakeholders believe that there is need to bridge the current policy gaps and ring fence the value chain.
And I would still take it back to the lack of that policy. So we've not organized the groups properly, and we've also not found we don't have the legal or policy framework to engage the private sector who might also be willing to come in and take up that project moving forward.
If recycling machines are installed, then it will be a game changer.
For some like Nyaga, the dump site is all they know, and changing it requires an alternative that earns them a living.
Mimi ni mtu niko na watoto shuleni. In case mtoto amefukuzwa leo na mimi naongojea mzigo uje kwenda baada ya mwezi 3 ama miezi 4, ndio inakuwa ngumu kwetu. Sisi watu tuko chini. Lakini tungepata mradi fulani katupatia pesa, tukanunua mali kwa wingi, tungeungana na wale tukakuwa sawa.
However, without widespread public awareness and infrastructure to support it, experts fear the law could remain only on paper.
Hai, wacha takataka zimwagwa hapa. Hata paka hapa. Harufu hiyo inaingia paka nyumbani. Maizi nayo ndio hizo. Ukiweka chai hivi inajaa hivi unamwaga. Nimevumilia hapa, nimevumilia sana.
If fully implemented, Kenya's circular model could unlock thousands of green jobs, reduce landfill pressure, and safeguard public health.
These efforts should also be aligned with the educational curriculum so that we change the behaviors of our future generations from that tender age. We would expect them to grow up knowing that waste must be segregated at source for proper management.
Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Thank you very much, Regina Manyara, for that detailed report. Now, farmers across Kenya are being urged to shift their mindset from harvesting to enterprise. They call rang loud at the 18th Agricultural Business Trade Fair hosted by the University of Eldoret, where leaders, innovators and policymakers rallied behind value addition as a cornerstone of Kenya's food security agenda.
On day 2 of the fair, hundreds of farmers turned up for a sensitization drive focused on agropreneurship and climate-smart agriculture. Over 60 exhibitors showcased innovations ranging from post-harvest handling to digital farming tools, all aimed at empowering farmers to plug into value chains and reduce losses. Speakers emphasized that embracing value addition through cold storage, processing and packaging would not only secure food systems but also unlock new streams of economic empowerment for farming communities.
But transformation has never been only about production. It is about turning farming into agribusiness. That is why my administration is investing in value addition and agro-processing. Yenye Profesa Lunyangapo amesema ni kwamba tutoke tu kwa kulima shamba na kuuza mahindi vile iko.
Hii ni kujikasa, fanya value addition, kuwa namna uangalia vile wengine wanafanya yao, wengine kuku, wengine masiwa na kadhalika na kadhalika.
The fair also spotlighted the urgent need for climate resilience.
It is urgent because agriculture remains our economic backbone, supporting 57% of our GDP and over 60% of creating employment, 60% of our population.
The role of academic institutions like the University of Eldoret was hailed as pivotal.
Universities drive research. The private sector fuels investment. Government creates the right environment. And development partners close the gaps. Together we hold the key to unlock opportunities, strengthen value chains, and secure prosperity for hard-working people.
So we urge all our farmers to embrace them, our researchers to do more innovation, and our partners to do more collaboration, because together we can transform agriculture into a modern, profitable, and resilient sector.
We are losing 30% of our harvest to post-harvest losses. And therefore, at this era, University of Eldoret is working extra hard to ensure that these post-harvest losses is reduced to the minimum.
John Jacob Curia, Easy Friday.
kujifunza jinsi ya kumfuga mbuzi wa kisasa wa maziwa na kisha jinsi ya kuhifadhi maziwa yake.
Ni biashara kama ingine. Ya pili, it's fashion. Napenda ukulima, that's why. Ya tatu, after doing much research about goat milk, that's what motivated me most.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo hapa KBC Channel 1.
Hello, fabulous ladies. Welcome to the talk show that's all about sisterhood, empowerment, and unfiltered conversation. We will be focusing on women. We believe in women.
We are really changing.
We are creating a safe space for women to connect, thrive, and share.
Just because you're a woman on a bike, you're labeled in a certain way.
It's not just a talk show, it's a movement.
When they are standing, we need to stand out.
From heartwarming tales to hilarious adventures.
They could ask me, Catherine, why are you learning?
We are turning the spotlight on women who are breaking barriers in their individual fields.
You have to have a vision.
You are the leaders of Kenya today.
Keeping it honest and relatable.
Mental health is real.
Yes.
Where there is no communication, there is no relationship.
Join the sisterhood on KBC TV for Dada's Show.
Thank you for staying with Easy Friday. We now change gears to business news of the day. My name is Wairimu Jenga. Infrastructure challenges, driver fatigue and non-compliance with transport regulations are the key causes of road accidents involving vehicles ferrying petroleum products. Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority Deputy Director of Mid-Rather and Downstream Petroleum, Stella Opakas, says 7 in 10 accidents involving vehicles ferrying petroleum products last year resulted in fatalities. Vehicles ferrying petroleum products over the last 3 years, resulting in loss of 17 lives, injury to 75, and property destruction. The Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority says of all the cases, only 40 met the set criteria for major cases.
We investigate all accidents, even the domestic LPG accidents. We do come into homes to investigate them. It's just that, as I said, when it's 70% of the accidents are on the road, that has raised a big concern for us as a regulator, and that's why we have called all the stakeholders in the petroleum and LPG transport network to discuss this.
The report shows fuel worth 116 million shillings and 24 tankers were destroyed, while an average of 15 million was incurred on the prime mover, rescue process and cleanup. A significant root cause of these accidents, aside from infrastructure challenges, is non-compliance with transport regulations, affecting about 87% of transporters.
We did have a review of the transport regulations so that we make the roads safe for petroleum and gas transporters as well as the general public. So we realized about 87% of the transporters were not, there's an uncompliance of 87% to some of the requirements. So we think this is something that needs to be handled urgently by the transporters, because we do not want our roads to be unsafe.
Kenya is commercializing improved livestock genes in an effort to increase milk production. Kenya Dairy Board Acting Managing Director Kimutai Maritime says the agency is working closely with the International Livestock Research Institute to enhance uptake of improved genes from the country's resource center at a subsidized cost.
Earnings from milk sales increased 17.4% to 60 billion shillings in 2024 due to a higher demand after production was flat at 5.33 billion litres. Kenya targets to double milk production to 10 billion litres in the next 5 years to meet local and export demand. This is by further subsidizing the cost of sex semen to small-scale dairy farmers to improve livestock genetics.
Semen was at 6,000 Kenya shillings per dose, but from the current subsidized, it is now going at 1,000. So that is a drastic and good subsidy, which we hope to jumpstart the production of more. Being sex semen means we shall have more heifers.
Kenya Dairy Board is working closely with the International Livestock Research Institute to commercialize hybrid genes at resource centers.
The job that we have to do is really to see to evaluate those genetic resources and put them in the context of the production systems.
Under the partnership, researchers will also be supported to scale up technologies that promote good animal husbandry and formalization of their ventures.
More formal means more milk will access market. The value of, in terms of quality of milk and safety will improve, because now it will be formalized and the trade will become formal.
We see opportunities around animal health, around genetics, really bringing the evidence to support the right policy and also delivering milk as a safe product for consumption.
Benson Rioba reporting for Easy Friday.
Kenya is banking on the re-election to the International Maritime Organization Council under category to reinforce the country's maritime diplomacy and leadership in the region. This will also strengthen the voice of Eastern Africa and the Great Lakes region in international maritime affairs, ensuring the country remain influential in shaping global maritime policy, particularly as it advances its blue economy agenda. Speaking during the launch of the Kenya's bid for election to Category C of the International Maritime Organization Council, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joho has said Kenya plans to use the position to represent developing countries and maritime, with the port of Mombasa and the Lamu port linking landlocked countries to global markets. Kenya is reaffirming its central role in international trade.
Strengthening maritime training institutions like Bandari Maritime Academy to meet IMO's STCW standards and produce world-class seafarers. These developments position Kenya not only as a maritime hub, but also a responsible steward of global shipping lanes.
The establishment has enabled the formulation of sound policies and guidelines that drives the growth of the maritime sector, while ensuring safety and sustainable, which are well aligned with the IMO objectives.
Technology and innovation are the drivers that will drive the travel and tourism sectors in Kenya. Tourism and travel experts say emerging technologies like virtual and augmented reality, facial recognition, and the Internet of Things are becoming the new trends in driving traffic and revenue.
The COVID-19 pandemic has also accelerated the use of technologies like contactless payments, voice search and mobile solutions due to health concerns.
If tourism doesn't have the effect on the community or the mama boga or the person selling chicken down there at the village, then it's not tourism at all.
This emerged during the Tourism and Hospitality Industry Connect East Africa Forum held in Nairobi. Memoir Hospitality Consulting Chief Jacqueline Jao is urging Kenyan tourism players to keep up with emerging trends to push numbers up.
Most of the people feel that AI is a threat, but I say AI is an elevator of tourism. So it depends on how you it depends on your mindset. How well do you want to acquire artificial intelligence to do marketing for you?
According to the International Air Transport Association IATA Global Passenger Survey, 71% of travelers now prefer booking their trips through mobile apps, while 53% of travelers choose to book directly through airline websites or apps.
Let's learn to have ceremonies around anything. Am I making sense? Yeah? And even those tours, yeah? Why don't we have tourism towards the tea growing areas of Kenya? Yeah?
Well, and that's all we had lined up this evening, but we have more stories at kbc.co.ke. Bernard Okumu is bringing you the day's sports in just a short while. My name is Ori Mujenga. Have a good night and a great weekend.
In the life of a man, you have 400 to 600 thoughts running every day.
You cannot do anything without money. So when you wake up in the morning, you always think about how am I going to raise the next 100K, the next 1 million, the next 10K, the next 1K. You see, it all involves money. But the outcome of your life is based on the decisions you make.
The greatest trigger of every thought is what you know. Knowledge becomes the foundation of anything you think about.
The greatest people who are making changes, who are making impact, are the people who think through problems and render not only solutions, but long-lasting solutions.
Anytime there is a decision, there must be options, and those options are represented because of knowledge.
A recent study by the APHRC reveals that 78% of abortions in Kenya were by women in stable relationships.
The pressure to have fewer and fewer children is pushing women towards having fewer children. In that context, if you do not have access to contraceptives, you will become pregnant, but then you want to do away with that pregnancy one way or another.
These women fall within 24 to 34 age brackets, that is about 41.8%, with 15.6% being women over 35 and only 13.6% being adolescents under 20.
Contraception will avoid pregnancy, but we know of the barrier methods which also have a second benefit.
So this Tuesday, join us as we speak about unsafe abortions.
Hello and welcome to Easy Friday Sports. I'm Bernard Okumu, and we begin with running, where all eyes will be on Kenya's World Athletics record holders Faith Kipyegon and Beatrice Kibbett when the World Athletics Championships gets underway tomorrow at the Japan National Stadium in Tokyo. Now Kibbett will spearhead Kenya's hunt for the gold medal in the 10,000 meters women's final as Kipyegon starts her title defense in the women's 1,500 meters race.
Roads over 5K. Put on the...
Beatrice Kibbett, who is the world record holder in the 5,000 meters and 10,000 meters race, will be taking part in her first 10,000 meters race, where she is fired up for nothing short of the title in her double quest. She boasts of a silver and a bronze medal in the 5,000 meters race from the 2022 and 2023 World Athletics Championships in Eugene and Budapest, respectively. The hot favorite will spearhead a Kenyan strong field that includes Agnes Kibbett Ngetich, who has been on a roll in the 10 kilometers run with record-breaking feats and a world record of 28 minutes 46 seconds in Valencia, and African Games champion Janet Ngetich, who won the Kenyan trials, hoping to make her debut on the big stage in style. Double world champion Faith Kipyegon, who holds 3 world titles in the 1,500 meters, on the other hand, is expected to light up Tokyo tomorrow when she starts her quest for a record 4th title. She was the toss of Budapest, where she clinched the 5,000 meters and 1,500 meters gold medals before her record-breaking feats that have been making headlines. Her teammates Dorcas Ewoi, Susan Ejore and Nelly Jepchirchir, who have been outstanding in the Diamond League, should follow suit starting from the heats.
That here, but it's Kipyegon's gold, as expected. Well, Teji the silver breathe.
Abraham Kibiwot will also get on his marks tomorrow in the qualifying heats of the 3,000 meter steeplechase. Compatriots world under-20 champion Edmund Serem and national champion Simon Kowech will be also in action. The 4x400 meters mixed relay team will also be in action in the final set for the same day.
Real heartache there for Bet. Abraham Kibiwot, the Commonwealth champion, pulling himself off the floor.
Kenyans begin their quest for glory at the World Championship. That's at 5:40 a.m. in the men's in the mixed relay. That's the 4x400 meters mixed relay, 5:40 in the morning, and then the men's 3,000 meters steeplechase, as Moki has stated, it's at 12:05 p.m. That's in the evening session, and the women's 10,000 meters final is at 3:30 p.m. Moving on, the 2025 National Sevens Circuit concludes this weekend with the Dallas Sevens in Kisumu, with Kabras Sugar set to defend the crown they won last year. Now, since its inception in 2003, only Mwamba and Homeboys have managed back-to-back Dallas Sevens titles. KCB Rugby, the most decorated side with 6 wins, arrive as circuit leaders on 104 points and need only a semi-final slot to seal the overall crown. Strathmore Leos, Mwamba and Homeboys will also be eyeing glory, while host Kisumu FC chase a maiden triumph. Speaking during today's final touches on the ground, that's at Kisumu International Stadium, Mamboleo RFC chairman Gabriel Ouma expressed confidence in delivering a memorable experience both on and off the pitch.
Said, Dala will be the biggest leg in this circuit, so we have very high expectations even from our fans. And as you can see, in terms of preparation, we are really trying so hard to meet the fan expectations.
Expectations for this tournament as captain, one is to, have fun. We always say that you should have fun when you're playing, and also then to reach the main cup quarters.
Team has had quite the test this series, but I'm happy because my entire squad is comprised of young players.
And on to grassroots soccer, where Afia FC were crowned champions of the Lafi chapter of the PS Ismail Phase 2 football tournament after defeating Ajax FC 2-0 in the final played at Lafi grounds in Lafi, Mandera County. Captain Hassan Dero opened the scoring with a header before the tournament's top scorer, Gundi Ali, sealed the victory with a late goal. For their triumph, Afia FC walked away with 200,000 shillings, while the runner-up, Ajax FC, received 100,000 shillings. As the second runners-up, Ham City FC pocketed 75,000 shillings. Now, the PS Ismail tournament, which kicked off on a tracked the record 112 teams across Lafi, Mandera North and Mandera East to the prize pool of 1.1 million shillings. Action now moves to Ramu in Mandera North tomorrow and Mandera Town in Mandera East on Sunday.
Academy of Sport ambaye inasimamia talent ya sport Kenya mizima. Hiyo academy iko hapa, watu yake walikuja, mkuu mnacheza, wao pia wanakuwa wana identify ile talent tunaweza peleka katika National Talent Camp wakati wa Disemba.
And to tennis now, where Kenyan wheelchair tennis top players Phoebe Masika and Jen Denga are the only Kenyans who qualified for the final of the ongoing International Tennis Federation ITF Wheelchair Championship at the Nairobi Sports Club. Now the duo beat their home counterparts Saida Juma and Penina Paul in the doubles semi-finals and will now play the winner of the second semi-final doubles, where Najwa Awane and her partner Rehema Selemani were playing Shilpa Putaraju and Pendo Zengo. Najwa will also be going for the singles title tomorrow against Rehema Selemani. 11 Kenyans were taking part in the championship, which is being used to improve the players' rankings.
I'm grateful that the International Tennis Federation usually sends someone from London to come over and see our progress, and they have been full of praises that we are doing a good job, and our people are not suffering from injuries. Then they, of course, have also noted that we don't have a drug problem.
So, of course, it being a world ranking tournament, it means the competition is very high. We had 11 Kenyans in the draw, and out of this, some of them did really well. So this tournament is divided into two. We have two tournaments. We call it Nairobi Open 1 and Nairobi Open 2. ITF Nairobi Open 1 and ITF Nairobi Open 2.
Elsewhere, the national under-16 women's basketball team finished 10th at this year's FIBA under-16 women's Afro basketball tournament after a narrow 43-38 loss to Morocco in the 9th to 11th place playoff classification match held at Petit Stade in Kigali, Rwanda. Kenya had advanced to the final of the classification round after defeating Guinea 55-48 in the semi-final played on Thursday. Now the team was placed in the classification stage after finishing third in Group C behind leaders Egypt and Cameroon, where they also recorded a historic 55-49 triumph over the Moroccans. The tournament moves into the semi-final stage tomorrow, with Mali set to face Cote d'Ivoire in the first semi-final. Egypt will take on Cameroon in the other semi-final. Now the event concludes on Sunday with the third place playoff and the final matches. Well, and with that under-16 women's basketball in Rwanda, that's all the time we had for on Easy Friday Sports. I'm Bernard Okumu, wishing you a great sporting weekend. Hand you back to Carren Kibbett.
Thank you very much, Bernard Okumu, for keeping us up to speed with the latest news-making history in sports. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Easy Friday. A big thank you to our sign language interpreters, Susan Thuku and Carol Njoroge, for ensuring accessibility throughout the whole broadcast. Up next, DJ Cool Jacks takes over with the disco funk show, so don't go anywhere. I'm Carren Kibbett. It's been a pleasure having your company tonight, and I'll see you again next Friday. Until then, have a safe and restful weekend. Good night.
Tushinde.com. Cheza safe, cheza smart. Gambling is addictive, not for persons under the age of 18 years.
Dosi amelala, sukuma moja. Wewe pia ndio muoga. Ndio maana Master Demi alikupita.